Let's talk about one of the hallmarks of the management culture, and that is a very simple word: choice. Choices. The management culture, to refresh your memory, is my view of the end of the modern era in Western civilization. Uh, it developed out of logic and reason as a way to govern all of us. We are told we have choices. We make good choices, we get good things. We make bad choices, though, and we are punished for that. And we talked about Law and Order SVU yesterday, and uh, there's a guy on the show who is the district attorney or the assistant district attorney uh, representing the court side of Law and Order. Carisi is his name, and he often says that this guy made a choice. He had a choice and he chose wrong. And you have to understand that that is the basis of the law that governs you and me. And it needs some sort of modification. Because let me tell you something, not all choices are really choices. And until we are willing to accept that and explore it, we're just going to be constantly stuck in this right, wrong, black and white way of thinking. And it destroys people. It really does. Trauma victims, for example, don't have a grip on their choices. And why is that? Because as a trauma victim myself, I can tell you that when I reach back to seek, counsel from within myself about what to do in any particular situation, I can't find the things that you can. They're just not there. That's because emotional development for me ended at age 5. All I knew was anger. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, anger is not going to lead you into good choices. Right and wrong are all messed up for trauma victims. I told you I felt I had to be doing something wrong in order to feel right. And that's because I was so angry. Because there was nothing I could do about what happened to me. I ended up thinking of myself as different and not in a good way. I felt there was really something wrong with me. And let me tell you, that impacts choices. The legal system is completely based on choices. And, let me tell you, or let me repeat my my little parable here about lawyers is they are the greatest conflict of interest in Western civilization today. Why should we sit back as people being governed? Why should we sit back and let lawyers who dominate the legislative branch of our government, in other words, they make laws? The problem is they work in the judicial system of our government. So they are making laws that they then use in the judicial system. If that isn't a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. We've got to replace lawyers in the legislative branch of our government. But when I look at a choice, I don't really know if it's a bad choice or a good choice. It may not be either. Choice, I believe, is for normal people, not people who are afflicted by trauma. And let me tell you, there's a lot of us. I had a friend once who said something to me that shocked me because I'd never considered it before. And we were speaking about another friend of mine who was mentally ill. And she too was a victim of trauma in her early life. And it was just so frustrating working with her because she just could not seem to get it. And so this gal that I was speaking with, she said something. She said she, referring to this other girl, never had the chance to just say no. Now think about that for a minute. She never had the chance to just say no. And I think that is profound because her choices were all bad because she didn't know how to make good choices. It was completely out of the realm of her grasp. So she never had the chance to just say no. So when we speak to people in such black and white ways, just say no, Terry, that seems like a put down, a pejorative reference to her inherent ability to screw things up. So people don't always have choices. And that's what I want to tell you today is that when you look around at your friends, your family, the black sheep, especially of your family, and you judge those people as being daft or crazy, how about a little empathy for the fact that these kinds of people just don't have the choices that other people do? And I include myself in that group. And, you're going to look at me and say, well, Terry, they still have choices. It's got to be a choice. No, it's not. And again, we use this to judge people, to put them in their place, to make ourselves feel better. And it's not working, ladies and gentlemen. We have to re-examine the concept of choices and come to a state where it will be better for everyone involved. But again, the lawyers who dominate the legislative branch of our government, they're not going to let that happen. And that's why I suspect that there is a revolution coming caused by the horizontal nature of the World Wide Web. And it's not going to be pretty. I may not be around to see it, but some of you will. And just prepare yourselves for what's ahead. Of course, prophecies like this are, often considered nuts anyway. And, I could be wrong because after all, I'm just a commentary.